Hey guys, this is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. It's a little bit heartwarming to be back. I pretty much had this video already recorded probably a few weeks ago before I left on vacation. I just was so busy that I never got a chance to actually edit it, and here we are now kind of doing this video for my August plan with me. And it's very different, like super different. And the reason why I say that is because obviously I am doing that junk journaling aesthetic, or basically like scrapbooking, and I wanted to try this just because of a few different things. One, I was really super pressed for time before I left on my vacation, and I just couldn't really be bothered to do any drawing or doodling. So that kind of was like the biggest reason why I ended up doing the junk journal, but also because I've never done it and I was actually very afraid to, so why not do it? So I did it. But if anything, I actually really did have fun. It was a little bit stressful just because I feel like there really isn't like any right or wrong way how to junk journal. It's just what fits best for you and what you personally like. So in this video, I purposely left some of my, I guess, thinking phases of where I wanted things to go, because I wanted you guys to really see the process of me not knowing what the heck I'm doing, trying to figure it out, and eventually liking what I was doing. And towards the end of the video, I kind of had an idea of where I wanted to go. And honestly, even though this is like junk journaling, I secretly still didn't have a theme. I didn't know where I wanted to go with all the like stuff I had, but eventually I kind of noticed that this theme was a little bit more of like a soft romantic vintage inspiration. I may be wrong, but that's at least what I got from my stationery. And honestly, I loved how it all came through. I used a lot more like nudes, pinks, beige, and brown. I didn't really opt for anything black because I thought that would be too harsh, but also I didn't really have any like brown like ink pads when I did my stamping, so I actually went ahead and used a Tombow marker and used that as my like ink for the stamps, and it actually was amazing. I love that because I really thought I had to go to the store and buy like a brown ink pad. Nope. Honestly, the markers really did save me, and it just gave more of like that scrapbook junk journal kind of aesthetic to it. Just like how I didn't really have a direct theme of what I wanted to do, I also did not have any idea how my spreads were actually going to look. Everything was pretty much done on the whim, except for me like pre-doing my calendar. That was the only thing that was like predetermined, but basically this whole like monthly setup was just on the fly. And I feel like sometimes it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but for me in this case it was a good thing just because as my brain was kind of like working with what I wanted to do and how things kind of laid together, I just feel like, well, I felt like my creative just flow was going, and it just felt very natural and it just felt so right. So I actually did like this process when it came to doing the setup, but for the most part I was really struggling. I think that the one thing I could take away is that when it comes to junk journaling, at least for me, what helps is kind of layering on, I guess, the very sharp corners of where things end, just because if you start layering, it kind of looks very cohesive. Just like right now here, I'm putting like a little quote behind the sticker girl. It's because it gives it more of a seamless look. If I just put it around anywhere, it just looks like it's not meant to be there. It looks like it's just free floating. It doesn't really have a purpose. So at least for me, I've noticed that layering on boundaries or on the sharp lines of where things ends, like that really helped. But I don't know, I honestly tried to research like how to junk journal. I will like admit my guilty pleasure with trying to research things, but yeah, that was a fail. It didn't really help, and so I pretty much had to learn on my own, which is okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it is my journal, so however it's set up, it's gonna be more curated towards me. But sometimes, even though it is my journal, I still get intimidated with it sometimes. So I don't know, it was just one of those very like experimental phases I have. Will I junk journal again? Honestly, I would say yeah. I really did like it. It was very cool. I'm actually very curious as to like what other like aesthetics could happen when I junk journal, because this one accidentally ended up being like that romantic vintage aesthetic. But then I also realized that most of my washi tape is like very much nude based, whether it's like beige, taupes, browns, pinks. I don't really have like bright colors, and plus most of the places that I usually get my washi tape don't have a lot to offer in terms of variety. So if you guys have like different places where you like the washi tape that they have, let me know in the comments down below, because there's a few places that I do really enjoy, but it's always like a waiting game to get them. And one of them is actually what I use for this video, and this is not sponsored or anything like that. I actually paid with my own money, but most of the stickers and the washi tape is actually from Paper Minty Studio. I really love her. I love supporting like small businesses just because I know that like my money is going to a good, you know, cause. Basically she does her own design. She comes out with different launches different times of the year, and I just really love her aesthetic overall. It's so cute, it's so dainty and delicate, and of course most of her color palette is actually just all nudes, and I really love that. So I did use some of her stationery and kind of played on that idea of like that romantic vintage inspiration, but also a lot of my other stationery that I did use for my setup actually was just from other small businesses on Etsy, and I can leave the information down below because it's a lot. But the other one that I did really wanted to I guess like get was Paper Pages. I don't know if that's the right word because my brain is really not thinking right now, but basically I just felt horrible if I was to like rip pages out of a book and just glue them into my journal. I feel like that's wasteful, and it's like, I don't know, destroying a book kind of like kills me inside a little bit. So I did get some already like pre-torn pages that she basically reuses. So it's good to know that books and other types of ephemera, I believe that's what it's called, is not just being thrown in the trash, and it can actually be repurposed, which I really like because, again, I didn't really want to like destroy anything just for the sake of junk journaling, because that kind of hurts my heart a little bit, but that's just me. And if you guys have already been wondering at this point in time in the video what the heck is going on with my voice, well, the reason why I've been kind of putting off doing this like voiceover is because I did come back from vacation, and even though the sole intention of vacation is just to like relax, have a good time, and kind of like escape from reality, but oh boy, reality reality did come in catch up on me, because I actually ended up getting sick. Like maybe 3 days into my vacation, I got Miss Rona, and so I'm still like recovering, and now I just have a very like ugly, scratchy, low sounding voice, but you know, we'll work with it because actually it was worse before and this is actually pretty good right now, so I will take advantage of that. But if you guys are wondering like why does my voice sound a little different, it's life. You get sick sometimes, and sometimes your voice kind of, you know, tries to troop through it. But hopefully that doesn't stop like my enthusiasm to get back into recording, because I have been so excited just to do something like this, something very experimental, very different for my channel, and just basically learning how to be creative again with my stationery. I don't know if you guys ever get in the funk of like you don't want to use your stationery anymore just because the creativity isn't there and the spark is just not there for you to like do anything with it. And I kind of got like re-inspired when I actually ended up doing this junk journaling style, because one, it's like a puzzle. You're trying to put things together and make it make sense, which is very tough in itself, but also it gives me more of an appreciation for doodling, because even though I really loved junk journaling, I did miss doodling, and it kind of gave me a little bit of a break. So at least I can say that I won't be doing junk journaling too often. Plus it's like super messy on my table where I actually film, but also it just gives me more appreciation for my stationery, especially like utilizing washi tape as like borders and backdrops, because I never would have done that before. I've always used them as like little accents throughout the page here and there, but never as like a full functioning aesthetic to my theme. And I thought that was really cool, because at least with the other like creators that I see on YouTube, they always, I don't know, to me it always feels like they make their washi tape be so purposeful, where I feel like for myself I could never achieve that because I never knew how. And it's weird to say that as someone who loves to do art, and I've never really taken like art classes or anything like that, but it's just like how to use your tools and your mediums. It's like, I don't know, at least for me, I always feel like it's something an artist never really likes to admit. It's like, how do you use your tools? Can you really be an artist? Can you really claim that you do X, Y, and Z if you don't even know how to use your like utensils? I don't know, that's me. I could be very weird. Do you guys kind of feel the same way, or do you think maybe I'm just kind of crazy? Because if it's because I'm a little crazy, that's okay. I totally understand. But I did have fun kind of experimenting with where this kind of could go. So if you guys have never done junk journaling before, I highly recommend it, because it's fun. It's not easy, but it's fun, and you kind of like rediscover your style, or it kind of helps you get out of a like creative funk, because I can see where that can help for some people. For myself, I would say that junk journaling is something that I'm still gonna get used to. I know that there is a few creators out there that really love junk journaling, and one of them is actually who I watch, Leela Journals. She actually junk journals so good and so beautifully. Like I wouldn't say jealous, but I really do love how her aesthetics do come to life, and it just looks so amazing that I don't understand how she can make her materials work in that way. And that's okay, because everyone has their own way of doing things, but it's just interesting how you can use material to kind of produce something. And for me, I kind of tried to achieve that. Now I'm still trying to like wrap my head around putting like lace and string and all that stuff in my journal, because I feel like now that's a little bit outside of my comfort zone. It seems a little weird and it seems like it would really thicken up my journal, but you can't be scared of different materials. I feel like that's what stops a lot of people. And for me, junk journaling was something that I did eventually end up admiring, but I got too scared, too intimidated to even do anything with it. And I just really because I was pressed for time, was forced to grab the idea of junk journaling. And I'm glad that I did, because I had a really good time. I really loved how it looked, and it actually made me properly like appreciate white space. I was always the type of person that would say like, you know, don't leave too much white space in your pages, or too much white space, it looks very unfinished. No, I love, and I'll say this, I love white space now. It just adds a little bit of like breathing space in your journal, and it doesn't make things feel too cluttered, and it just gives you this sense of not feeling overwhelmed. With my weekly layout, I also didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. I was thinking that I wanted to do something totally revolutionary, something super creative and amazing, but I couldn't really figure out how I wanted to do that. So I actually just kept this super basic. As boring as that sounds, I actually did keep it pretty basic. I really wanted to play on the usage of white space, and I don't know, but like my brain was kind of going like the simpler the better. So I didn't really do too much with my weekly layout. I pretty much kept it very simple. I just threw on some washi tape that had the dates, the days of the week, not really dates, but something where it was super easy. I can just really if I didn't like the spacing, I can take it off, I can realign it. There was like a lot of wiggle room to experiment with, which I really did love, because sometimes when you take that, take your pen onto paper and you accidentally mess up, you feel like there's no way of saving it. So I did like this process of where everything was just super convenient, and yeah, I just pretty much kept it super basic. And sometimes going that route is a lot mentally easier than going really, really crazy. So we finally made it to the flip through, and I'm so glad my voice upheld to this point. But hopefully you guys really enjoyed my version of junk journaling. It was totally different and new, but I can't say I had a good time doing it. I really loved how everything unintentionally happens, but sometimes that's the best way. And hopefully I get to see you guys next time. Bye!